A few months ago, I joined a sales call where the prospect already knew exactly how the deal would work. They knew their problem, our methodology, timeline, and expected results after reading about a similar company. By minute 8, the prospect said, I read your case study about a law firm that doubled the number of leads in its pipeline. We're basically the same business at a slightly different stage. Walk me through what onboarding would look like. The deal closed 3 days later, and the rep barely had to sell because the case study did it for them first. Real case studies are one of the highest leverage sales assets most businesses have, and almost no one uses them properly. Here's why and how to build them properly. Most businesses have something that they call case studies, but they sit in a folder somewhere on their website. They look professional, they have a client's logo, and basically a quote. They follow the same structure: challenge, solution, result. And almost nobody reads them. The ones who read them rarely act on them. It exists, but it doesn't generate any leads. This happens for a reason. Most case studies make 3 fatal mistakes. First, they're written for the business and not the prospect. They highlight what the company did, the capabilities they brought, and the brilliance of their methodology. What the prospect actually wants to know is simple. Will this work for someone like me, in my situation, with my constraints? And it isn't explained in the case study. Second, they rely on vague numbers like significant growth or substantial ROI. Every vague number makes a case study less believable. Specifics build trust, but vagueness destroys it. Third, they jump straight to the outcome and skip the messy middle. They don't show the moments where it could have failed, the decisions that could have gone either way, the judgment calls that actually shape the result. Now, let's dig into what businesses don't realize about the messy middle. That's where the trust gets built. Polished outcome stories sound like marketing. Honest accounts of how the engagement actually unfolded feel real. Prospects can tell the difference within the first paragraph. I'm Rod Agatep, and for over 27 years, I've helped professional service businesses build systems that use proof to close deals before sales even gets involved. A real case study can replace 3 to 4 touch points on its own. They build trust, demonstrate capability, and address objections and pre-sale the prospect on engagement. And it all happens before the sales rep ever picks up the phone. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you through what a real case study looks like, the elements every effective case study needs, and the failure points that turn case studies into wasted effort. Here's how things change your sales process. A prospect lands on your case study page, they scan the list and then categorize by industry, situation, and company size. They see a few that match their situation, and then they click on one. Within the first 3 paragraphs, the case study describes a business that sounds almost identical to theirs. Same stage, same constraints, same kind of frustration that brought them to your site in the first place. They're already thinking, this is my exact situation, so they keep reading. And then the case study walks them through what actually happened, including the parts where things were uncertain, the decisions that had to be made, and the trade-offs the client navigated. Specific numbers throughout, specific timelines, specific challenges that came up, and how they were handled. And by the end, they believe 3 things. 1, this business solves the exact problem I have. 2, they've done it before for someone like me. And 3, I can picture what working with them would actually look like. And here's the part that produces a dramatic conversion lift. Prospects who actually read 2 or more case studies close 3 to 4 times higher. Case studies aren't the extra marketing material, they're the sales conversation before any human gets involved. Real case studies have 5 elements. Skip any of these and your case studies are going to underperform. 1, the mirror opening. The first 3 paragraphs have one specific job. Make the prospect think this is my specific situation. Specific industry, specific company size, specific stage in the business, specific problem in the prospect's own language. Generic openings fail because they describe a category rather than a company. The prospect doesn't see themselves. Specific openings sound like this. This is a 15-employee accounting firm that focuses on the oil and energy industry. They're generating about $4 million in annual recurring revenue, but they're stuck in a sales cycle that's stretched from 30 days to 90. These succeed because the prospect immediately recognizes the picture. 2, the honest middle. Most case studies skip from problem to solution. Real case studies live in the middle. What was actually tried? What didn't work the first time? What decision had to be made under uncertainty? What trade-offs did the client navigate? That's what separates real case studies from a brochure. Prospects know that real work is messy. Showing that builds credibility. And here's the counterintuitive thing about being honest about case studies. Showing moments of uncertainty or struggle actually increase close rates. Prospects trust accounts that reveal how work really unfolded, not polished outcomes. 3 specific numbers. Every claim should be specific enough that the prospect can picture impact. Don't use words like significant growth or improved efficiency. Say things like their sales pipeline grew from 180,000 monthly to 470,000 monthly over 6 months. Or they cut the average response time from 14 hours to 8 minutes. Specifics build trust through verifiability. Vague claims look like marketing. Specific numbers feel real, even when they're not. 4. The decision moments. Real engagement has inflection points. These are the moments where the client has to make a decision, whether they go with approach A or approach B, whether they invest more or hold back, whether they expand the scope or they just stay focused. These are the decision moments. Explaining how the client thought through them does 2 things. First, it makes a case study feel real. And second, it implicitly addresses the same decisions that the prospect will face. You're answering objections before they come up. And 5, that honest outcome. Don't oversell the results. Report what actually happened. This includes the parts that took longer than expected, the metrics that improved less than planned, or the secondary benefits that surprised everybody. Honest results win, even when they're not perfect. Prospects know that results aren't perfect. When you tell them the truth about real engagement, they trust everything else you tell them more. How fast does it take to create a real case study? Your first real case study can be created in 2 to 3 weeks. Week 1 requires selecting the right client, engagement to feature, conducting the interview with the client, and gathering the specific numbers that make the case study credible. Week 2 requires writing the narrative, building the visuals, and structuring the on-page format. Week 3 is publishing, integrating it into your sales workflow, and adding it to your nurture sequences. A full library of 5 to 8 case studies usually takes 2 to 3 months. After that, it runs on a steady cadence. Either 1 new case study per month or 1 major refresh of an existing case study. You'll usually see results within 30 days of publishing your first real case study. Start building this now so your prospects have the proof they need to move forward. There are also failure points that turn case studies into wasted effort. First, the brochure trap. The case study reads like marketing material, polished, aspirational, heavy on the company doing the work, but light on actual engagement. Prospects detect this within the first paragraph and they disengage. The fix: write case studies the way a journalist would. Report what happened, include specifics, acknowledge uncertainty. It should sound like reporting and not advertising. Second, the vague results problem. Using words like significant growth, substantial improvement, notable ROI, prospects assume the numbers were either disappointing or made up. Either way, trust is going to drop. The fix: include real numbers even when they're imperfect. Get client approval to publish specifics. If the client won't allow specific dollar amounts, use percentages, ratios, or relative comparisons. These can still convey actual scale of the results. Third, the orphaned assets. The case study that gets published sits on a page no one ever visits and never gets integrated into the rest of the marketing system. Sales reps don't reference it in proposals. Email nurture doesn't include it. Cold email doesn't link to it. The asset exists but does nothing. The fix: integrate every new case study into every other channel from day 1. Email it to your nurture list. Reference it in cold email. Send it to relevant retargeting audiences. The case study should be working across all channels within a week of publication. And here's where it fits into the bigger picture. Case studies are your proof. Every other channel, your ads, your content, your email, your sales conversations, these make claims about what you could do. Case studies make those claims believable. Without case studies, everything else has to work harder to overcome the natural skepticism prospects bring. With them, the rest of your marketing gets compounding leverage. The ad campaign performs better because the landing page links to a case study. The email nurture converts more because every sequence references real client outcomes. The sales conversation closes faster because the prospect has already seen the proof. Case studies, they're not optional. They're the highest leverage trust assets in your entire marketing system. The business that invests in building them properly outperform competitors who think a logo and a quote count as social proof. If your case studies are vague and no one reads them, the best thing you could do today is rebuild them so they help you close sales before the sales call even happens. If you want to see how this fits into your full client acquisition system, watch this next video right here. If you want to see exactly how that would work for your business, the resource in the description is the best place to start. And if you found this useful, subscribe to the channel. I'm publishing the full system, one component at a time.